So today our first lecture on probability. The probability actually back up by two things. One is permutation and combination, and another is set theory. So we have to very well prepared on set theory and permutation combination to get hold of probability. So there are some notations on set theory, some usual notations on set theory, and there is some notations on probability. So we have to know, we have to relate what is the notation in set theory and what is the notation in probability. The probability actually start with a sample space. And how does sample space came? The samples came from random experiment. So this is something non-mathematical term, random experiment. So definition of random experiment is some sort of vague. So this is non-mathematical term, but sample space is the mathematical term. But this is actually some probabilistic term. So that's why probability is not mathematics. Probability is different from mathematics. Because as such, random experiment has no such definitions. Some intuitive. So random experiment, every random experiment have a sample space. So for example, the usual most popular example is toss a coin. If we toss a coin, we have two outcomes. Two outcomes. So random experiment has some outcomes. What are the results? Outcomes. So what are the outcomes? Head and tail. H for head and T for tail. Now sample space is the collection of all outcomes. Collections of all outcomes of that random experiment. So that's why sample space. Space means some set collection. Topological space, vector space, some say sample space. So sample space is a collection. That means in this example, H and T are two outcomes. But what is the sample space in this example? Sample space is set containing H and T. The set, whole set. The set is the sample space. So any element of sample space is outcome. So element of sample space, element, any element of sample space. Here it is H and T, two elements are there. Sample space is outcome. Or sometimes it's called sample point. Sample space, sample point. Point means element. Some real point, something like that. Sample point. Sample point means outcome. A collection of sample point means sample space. Now in set theory notation, sample space is nothing but a something like called S or omega, whatever. Someone called S, some author called omega, big omega. This is something universal set. So sample space is something like universal set in mathematics. So there is nothing beyond this sample space. Everything in this sample space. So universal set. If the sample space is say H and T, we don't know outside H and T anything. If sample space is integers, we don't know what is fraction. So like a universal set. Now this elements of the universal set or point of this universal set is a outcome. This is a so universal set in mathematics set theory term, sample space is the counterpart in probability. So same concept, sample space, the term sample space in probability and universal set in mathematics, in set theory. Actually set theory is the basis of mathematics, but set theory is, truly speaking, set theory is not in the mathematics. Set theory is actually, set theory and logic is outside the mathematics. It is before mathematics actually. It is starting of everything, not only mathematics. Every language, every science is actually set theory and this logic, which is a grammar actually. This came first, then mathematics, statistics, everything. So set theory actually is above mathematics, is outside the mathematics basically. So So set theory, in set theory term, the universal set, it is sample space. Here it is a sample point or outcome. Here we call point or element, point or elements, outcome or sample point. Same thing. Now next, subset. In mathematics, it is a subset. Now in probability, it is called event. Now there is a small gap actually. Actually, there is a small gap. Truly speaking, every subset set is not event, but in our course we take subset as event. So what are the subset here or event? Event are phi, no element on phi, only h, set containing h, set containing t. These are the events, 4 events. If there are 2 elements, there are 4 events. If there are n elements, there are 2 to the power n events, 2 to the power n many subsets. So that means it's a collection of all events. Now, if you collect all these events, it's called event space. Event space is just the collection of all events. So event space is collection of all events. In mathematical, in set theoretic language, what is this? This is a power set. Set of all subset is called power set. So we know the power set has 2 to the power n many if it is finite. Now, element of event set is event. Element of event space is event. Sometimes it's called event point. Also, it's called event point. Event point. So event point and event is same. So like outcome or sample point is same thing. Event point and event is same thing. The most popular term is event. So it is subset. A power set is event space. So then what is the nomenclature in probability? Universal set. We call it as sample space. We use the notation S or something like omega for universal set, S for sample space. Then there is a outcomes or sample point. Here is a element or point. Most popular term is element, here outcome. Then subset. Subset is here. Here it is event. Event E is a subset of S. Outcome some X or something called in universal is called small omega. Also write A, B, something like that for subset. We use capital letter for subset. And there's a power set of omega, which is event space. Is power set of S. In example, there is the experiment, toss a coin, sample space is HT, outcome are HT, 2 outcome, 1 sample space, 2 outcome. Event, there are 4 events. For n element, there are 2 different events. Event space, the collection of all these 4 events. Now there is a small gap between event space and power set. In our syllabus, we consider power set as event space. The problem is that there may be this omega or s may be infinite. If it is a finite, then okay. If it is a finite and number of element of omega is n, then power set has 2 to the power n element, 2 to the power n many events. But if it is a infinite, then is a problem. Then power set has many more points. Is called uncountably many points. In mathematics, it's called uncountably many points. Is omega is a natural number, set of natural numbers or set of integers, is a countable set. Then you that power set of the countable set is an uncountable set. We can deal with countable set, but dealing with uncountable set is very tough. Actually, the problem is begin with not only in the countable set, the problem is go beyond that, because if we take our sample space as a real number, then the sample space is still uncountable. It's called LF not LF1 cardinality, and this power set is highly complicated. Then the set of all subset of real number, considering this is very tough. It's beyond the human concept of human beings. Not only beyond of you and me, it is beyond of all mathematicians, all the genius mathematicians. That's why they actually do some slight change. What is the changes? They say the event space, okay, don't take power set as event space if it is infinite. If it is finite, it's okay. But if it is infinite, don't take event space as power set. You take a sub collection, sometimes called script F, is a collection of set, but not the whole all subset. Collection of some subsets is a subset of power set. We take some, okay, don't take this 4, phi, set containing A, set containing S. Take phi and S, only 2. But some properties are there. The properties you should have to take phi and S should be in this collection, number 1. If you have A in this collection, you have to take the A complement in this collection. You have to take A complement. And the third condition, if there are countable many, because it is infinite, the countably many set in this collection, then their union is also I equal to 1 to infinity, the countable union also in this. We can take any subset, but we have to check this 3 condition is hold or not. So we have to take such a sub collection or subset of our set with this 3 condition, and any collection with this 3 condition is called sigma algebra. In mathematics, there is a term sigma algebra. So actually, event space is not the synonymous of power set; it is actually synonymous of sigma algebra. Sigma algebra. Sigma algebra is a collection of subset of power set with these 3 properties. But in our case, it is finite. If it is a finite, so in our syllabus, sigma algebra is not needed. Our syllabus will take event space as power set, because if it is finite, it's no problem. If it is infinite, okay. If it is infinite, there is no problem. It is a countable. If it is a set of natural number, the problem start with if the S, a sample space itself is uncountable, real number. It's called continuous random variable. If it is a continuous random variable, there is a problem. But in application, basically in the application, the many situation, the finite case is there, and some situation infinite case is there. Continuous case basically is ideal case. So actually the maybe some discrete case, maybe some complicated. We idealize this in terms of some continuous situation. So that's why continuous thing comes. Actually, in real life, is only everything is finite. So we can take power set as a event space. So any subset of sample space is event. But remember, it may not be true in general case. So event actually any subset may not be event. Event I can declare these are event, these are not event. I can fix that in our hand. That's taking sigma algebra is our hand. Okay, okay there are 10 set 10 elements in omega. 2 to the power 10 means 1024 many subset. I took only 8 or only 16 or only 32 many subset as a event. We can take that. But usually we take all the subset of sample space. If someone asks what is event, you say okay, loosely speaking, it is a subset of any subset of sample space, but actually truly it is not a any subset, it is actually elements of a sigma algebra. But in our syllabus only sigma algebra is not there. So start with some finite situation. Now this is tossing is a one situation. Remember this events are subset. The head is not the event. H is outcome. This is outcome. Remember. Event, what is event? The set containing H. This is the event. So occurring of H is actually not the event. Actually the set containing H, that is the event. Occurring of that subset is the event. But in language we say okay, occurring of head, probability of head, but actually probability of head, this term is undefined, meaningless. We have to say probability of set containing head, not probability of head, because probability outcome has no probability, the event has probability, and the subset are the event at the subset, not the element. So element has no probability, the subsets have the probability. But sometimes if the event has only one element, we call that probability of H. If subset only contain A, we call probability of A. That is a notation only. But remember, there is nothing probability of head. Probability of head means probability of set containing head. Now, slightly complicated but trivial is tossing a coin twice. Tossing a coin twice. So, what are the outcomes? HH, HT, TH, TT. These are outcomes. So, what is sample space? The collection of that. Then what is the subset? 2 to the power 4, there are 16 subsets are there. There is one subset is 5. This is called impossible event. This is called impossible event. Impossible event. The set 5 is called impossible event. And the whole set also a subset. S is subset of S. This is called certain event or sure event. And some events are only one element. This is called singleton set. These are in set theory is called singleton set. If there are two elements called doubleton set. A singleton set, only one outcome is there, is called elementary event. Elementary event. Only one outcome. This is something singleton set in set theory. Singleton set. Elementary event. Only one outcome. If there are more than one outcome, it's called composite event. More than one outcome. Better I write the definition. The set, the event which contain more than one outcome is known as composite event. So this is just terminology, composite. So all the events other than 5 and these 4 events, other 9 events are all composite. So before going to probability, we should know some set theoretic properties or set theoretic notations before start with the probability. So there are some in set theory, there are some operations on set theory. There are operation, one important operation is called union. Notation is the U. Intersection, like that. Inverted U. Set minus, something like this, or something is like a minus. Some author like this backslash or minus. Complementation, complementation is something called superscript C. Then symmetric difference is called delta. Okay, this are the this. Okay, so in notation, if A B are two sets or A B are subset of S, then all of you know what is A union B. This is all element in S such that either X belongs to A or X belongs to B. So this is called the algebraic formulation or definition, and there is a graphical representation or diagrammatic representation of this union. It's called Venn diagram. We know what is something like Venn diagram is something like that. Better I don't this way. Okay, better I said in this way. S, yes, this is A, this is B, and this A union B is the whole, this whole part, A as well as B. So if A has three elements 1, 2, 3, and B three elements say or four elements 2, 4, 5, 6, 2 is a common element, is 3 is 4, so A union B is as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 elements, not 7, 6 elements. You can't take 2 twice, you have to take 2 only one. And the intersection part is set of all X in this event or in this sample space, that is the outcome, collection of all outcomes such that X belongs to A and this, it should be and both hold at a time. So it is set containing just 2 only in this example. In this example, it is 2 set containing 2. So what will be the intersection part? This intersection part, this is the union part, and for intersection, this part is the intersection part. Now there is a complementation. A complement is element of A such that X does not belongs to A. If X belongs to A complement, then does not belong to A. Complementation is very easy in Venn diagram. Just sorry, it is S is only one set. Complementation is outside, not in A. Then there is set minus A minus B is element of S such that X belongs to A but and X does not belongs to B. So sometimes A intersection B complement is belongs to A and intersection means and does not belongs to B. So in Venn diagram, this is like that. This is A, this is B. A minus B is this portion in A but not in B. And last, the symmetric difference A delta B It is A minus B, something we write minus also this backslash union B minus A. What is this part? This part is this portion and this portion. So it is actually A union B minus A intersection B. So this is a Venn diagram and this is a set notation. But to relate this notation with probability, we need some textual notation. A occurred, B does not occur, something is textual. So there are three things. One is algebraic, X belongs to this and or then something algebraic notation, logical notation. This is actually actual perfect thing. This is actually perfect. This X belongs to S, S does not belongs to A. This is the actual mathematically correct. There is a Venn diagram. This intuitive, this for visualization, but no proof should not be given in terms of Venn diagram. Venn diagram only for visualization, only for take the concept, only for understand this concept. But with Venn diagram, the proof is not actually complete with Venn diagram. You have to complete the proof in logical sense. In this way, X belongs to A. This. The third thing is textual thing, formal language. What we use in our daily life. That also is not proof is not granted in this language. What is this? Say something called A occur, but occurs, but B does not occurs. Does not occurs. What does that mean? This means actually A minus B. A and B both occurs. Both occur. So both happen. Occur. A union B. Sorry, A intersection B. A, at least one of them occur. At least one. At least one of A, B occur. At least one, maybe two. That is A union B. None of them occur. None of A, B occur. What is this? This actually, you can easily see this is by Venn diagram. None of this occur means outside that. None of them occur. So that is actually A union B complement. So this situation is slightly complicated if there are three sets. If there are three sets, A, B, and C. A, B, C. There are three sets, subset of S. So if I say at least two of them occur, at least two events occur. What is that? What is that in algebraic form? To get the algebraic form, we have to first visualize this concept through Venn diagram. So A, B, and C. So at least two of them occur means which part? This portion, two of them occur, this portion, and also this portion. Three of them occur. At least means is maybe more than two. So what will be the this part? So this is actually A intersection B union B intersection C union C intersection. So unless you draw the Venn diagram, to get this is tough. So from textual, you go first into the Venn diagram, then Venn diagram, you go to the algebraic form. Because proof should be given in terms of algebraic form, algebraic notation. But your problem will be described, or in your life, in real life, the problem will occur in terms of textual representation. It is something like in class 6 when the algebra start, we call it, it's called সংখ্যায় লেখো কথায় লেখো. Textual means এটা কথায় লেখো, সংখ্যায় লেখো means like in algebraic notation. So sometimes we call x এর অপেক্ষা 3 বড়, y x এর অপেক্ষা 3 বড়, we call in algebraically y equal to x plus 3. z হলো x এর দ্বিগুণ অপেক্ষা 3 ছোট, so z equal to 2x minus 3, something this is called textual form, and this is the z equal to x minus 3 is called is algebraic form. Same thing here, this at least two of the event occurs is a textual form. Anybody can just say okay, oh, at least two of them occur, but mathematically it is something not clear. To clear mathematical view you need the Venn diagram, so that's why the Venn diagram is so important. Venn diagram actually relate the actual mathematical formulation with the real life amateur persons. This Venn diagram actually help both of them, is true mathematician and the layman, the amateurs, both of them. So actually link between this textual form and this algebraic notation. So again, if I say at most one of them occur, at most say one occur, at most one event occur. What is that? So again, in Venn diagram, okay, don't write ABC, no need of write ABC because the symmetrical form. At most means is actually this portion one, this portion only one thing, this portion and also the outside. So this is basically the complement of the previous thing. This is a complement of the previous thing. A union B, intersection B union B, intersection C, union C, intersection A, whole complement. And for this, to find the complement, there is an important result called De Morgan's law. De Morgan's law. This is A union B whole complement. You can check with the Venn diagram, but this is not the proof. But you can check. This is A complement intersection B complement. And if A complement A intersection B whole complement, this will be A complement union B complement. It's called De Morgan's law. This is very much useful in our in probability sense in set theory. And to count something, there is an important result in set theory. The number of element of A union B, it is just number of element of A plus number of element of B. But in this situation, the element where in the intersection A intersection B, they count in the A also and B also, like the for the previous example, 1, 2, 3, and 2, 4, 3, 5. There are 4 element and there is a 3 element, but in union there is not a 6 element. There are 6, not 7 here, because 2 is common to both of them. So we have to count twice. You count A in A as well as in B, but in union you have to count 2 only one. So that's why is minus A intersection B. More generally, if there are 3 sets, element of A union B union C is element of A plus element of B plus element of C. Now, if you take element of A plus element of B plus element of C, that intersection part, A intersection B, but not in C, that count twice. In B intersection C, not in A, is count twice. A intersection B, A intersection C, not in B, is also twice. But in A intersection B intersection C, count thrice. So over counting. So we have to take the minus number of element of A union B, A intersection B, A intersection C, and number of element of B intersection C. Now what happened? This portion we count this, again count this part is twice, this part thrice counting. Oh, not sorry, not here. Sorry. This part is not counting. Now take minus this, so you have to remove one from here, one from here, because it is A intersection B. Now again remove one from here, one from here, remove one from here, one from here. That means you removed the whole part of this. It counts thrice, here, and again you take minus. So you have to add one more, the intersection part. So this is called inclusion exclusion principle, because it first include all these sets, then it is extra word count. So again this inclusion exclusion principle is again exclude this intersection part. So it is undercount, then we have to add this, again include. So if it is a 5 or 4 or 6 subset union, the number of element will be counting like that. It is take one at a time, is over count, then take minus intersection, then it is undercount, again take the plus 3 at a time intersection, then 4 at a time intersection minus, 5 at a time intersection plus, 6 at a time intersection minus, 7 at a time intersection plus. So inclusion exclusion principle. So this is very important for finding probability. So this is the actually set theoretic recapitulations or set theoretic notations, set theoretic concept to find probability of some event. For probability actually to probability of an event, not the probability of an outcome. So probability of an event. So once we deal with the probability, actually deals with the event. So if probability of A union B, then actually you have to count this element of A union B. That's why you need some set theoretic notation. By definition, probability of an event is probability of an event. A is an event, so a subset of S. The probability is number of element of A by number of element of S. Total number of element will be the denominator, and numerator number of element of A. Now this probability definition is called classical definition. Classical definition of probability definitions. But remember, this classical definition has some drawbacks. Actually, this classical definition is not used in modern time. It's actually some vague. It's not correct actually. It has some drawback because its classical definition assumes something. What is the assumptions? Assumptions are, number one, you have to take S as a finite. Okay, in our syllabus we take S as a finite, but if S is infinite, countable or uncountable, you can't use this classical definition, because in that case number of element is S is infinite, not the finite, so you can't take the ratio. Number two, the most important drawback of this definition is we have to assume that all the elementary events are equally likely. Elementary events are equally likely. Are equally like all the events are equally likely. So what is the meaning of equally likely? That is not clear actually. So there is two problem here. Problem one, the term equally likely is not clear. When it is equally likely, we don't know. We'll see. This term equally likely is actually vague. In random experiment, whether this is equally likely or not, finding this is very tough. So we don't know what is equally likely, and if you know that it is not equally likely, then we can't use classical definition. The problem is in the both way. If it is not equally likely, we can't use. But when it is equally likely, we don't know. That means we know when we can't use. We know if it is a not finite, we can't use. If it is not equally likely, we can't use. But when we can use. When, how do you know it is equally likely? We don't know how to know equally likely. So we clearly know when we can't use, but we don't know where we can use. That's a problem, big problem. So that's why some axiomatic definition is there. I'll show in the next class what is axiomatic definition. But in this class, the classical definition, since it is in the syllabus, we have to read this, we have to discuss with this. But classical definition actually vague, it is actually unclear, ambiguous. In modern time, it is not used. But still, we have to do with some problem with mathematical thing with this classical definition. But remember, in modern probability theory and statistics, the classical definition is not used. But in mathematical aspect, we can use classical division. Okay, this A is this set. Find what probability. That means you have to actually find the elements of A and find the element of S, and you have to take the ratio. That means actually is a permutation combination problem. Actually, probability boiled down to the permutation combination problem. Two permutation combination problem. You have to count two things: number of element of S, number of element of A. You have to count two. There is actually two problems. If I ask, there is a 52 many cards, and we took 4 cards from that pack of this randomly coupled, and what is the probability of 2 cards are sucking? That means we have to find two counting number of way such that we can take 4 cards from the 52 cards, and number of way that 4 cards contain 2 key. That means there is a 2 permutation combination problem. I take the ratio. Why are taking the ratio? That we don't know. We have to use classical definition that is in the syllabus. We just divide. Is it actual probability? We don't know actually. Is in the syllabus. In terminology, we have to do this. So that's why we do this. But in actual sense, in actual real life, this is not the situation. Just using permutation combinations and this classical division will not get the probability, actual probability. This is something different. But maybe very closed. That's why deal with this classical definition. So classical definition basically deals with this combinatorial problem with these two assumptions. S is finite. We'll mainly deals with the finite sample space, and there is some result on this. Again, this is just the inclusion exclusion principle. This number of element of A union B is number of element of A plus number of element of B minus number of element of A intersection B divided by number of element of S. It's just number of probability of A plus probability of B minus probability of A intersection. This is a one result. Then another result is probability of A complement is probability 1 minus probability of A. This is important, and you can use this inclusion exclusion principle to find this more than more than two sets, 3 or 4. You can write that. So this is actually this plus this minus this. So there is inequality. If there are A1 union A2 dot AN, then it's a probability of A1 plus probability of A minus something. So it is less than probability of A1. This is called bond-friend inequality, sometimes called Boole's inequality. And there is one more inequality. This you have to prove by induction, mathematical induction. And one more inequality is this. It's called Boole's inequality. Is greater than or equal to sum of the probabilities minus n minus 1. So for today, this much.